gonna
overall in the series, but I think
that pool is so good.
this is the best possible start they could get to this veto. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, 100% this is the best start that
Yeah, no, 100%. And this is where they should expect, right? They know they're playing Lotus today. Unless they were willing to gamble the bind ban and ban other Lotus, you know you're going to go there against them. They're definitely on the back foot. I think if BBL Pacific somehow win Lotus, it's done. The series is done. I'm willing to say that.
Whoa, okay,
yeah.
that's big. Do you know what?
But they won't.
The thing is, though, no,
but they're not going to win Lotus.
Isn't even that bad of a map for BBL Pacific.
No, it's not.
If we looked at the results on it for the whole year, it's not a terrible map for them. It's like I say, this double duelist, I think, is where we question how quickly can they warm up to that stage.
Okay, when I rocked up maybe halfway through Ascension on the desk.
Okay.
When they played mandatory, it was poo. When they played against Twisted Minds, they changed their cost, it was still poo.
Throughout the year, I'm talking about.
Yeah, but
it's not been a terrible map for them.
I do think the recency, we should take into consideration the form on this map for them recently. For me, it just wasn't convincing. But it's been great for Dynasty. And you guys might have seen these two in the crowd yesterday. I didn't realize they had twins. Here's Mitch and Tom.
Thank you very much, Yinsu. It's time to get into this matchup, the final one of Ascension, your grand final 2.0. And I gotta say, there's some faces that everybody expected to see down on that stage. BBL Pacific, they came in as favorites, not just in the veto, as we heard the Analyst desk talking about, but in the tournament in general. Dynasty, though, I think have surprised quite a few folks at home with their arrival on that stage here today.
Yeah, no, I'd say this is definitely a favorite versus a dark horse, but that's the fun thing with Dynasty is they've slowly built into this tournament. And of course, we're looking at the last couple of years, and we've had a victor coming out of the French League. We've had one, obviously, in the form of Apex coming out of Northeast. But is it going to be the year of Turkey? 2 chances to make it, potentially 2 going their way? Or is there going to be a change of form? And Dynasty, coming from Italy, playing in Spain, could be making a name for their organization as well. It all comes down to an entire year working up to a single match of Valorant. And this is that match.
You we talked a lot yesterday about players who were looking to do things for the second time, the first time, but 3 attempts for Tag and Waddle, the only players to have participated in all the Ascensions, and here they are with a chance to make it all the way. 3rd time's the charm for BBL Pacific. Now looking at this map, this is where Lover's Rock had a few tough starts in their previous series, but managed to find his footing. If he's hot to the touch right out the gate, it could be a different game for Dynasty. They're already approaching this A site, but so many players rotated in from the defense, ready for a fight.
Yeah, there's a late lurk, but will that lurk play a factor? There's so many players already battling and brawling, and it seems like Tag's just a little bit too far away to help out the team. The majority of his squad are already down, and what was hoping to be a finite backstab has ended up a 1v3 scenario. It was spoke about on the desk, and I definitely agree. This map pool seems like the first few of the opportunities for Dynasty. They need to take Lotus. Abyss is an unknown. But the later this series goes, the better it looks for BBL Pacific. A pistol round on their weakest map. Hey, that wouldn't be a bad start.
30 seconds left.
It's on Tag here to pick this up for Dynasty. Sheriff in hand, and he'll find a nice headshot onto Kreven. But the high-low setup works in BBL Pacific's favor. 1-0 to start this out on the defensive side. And as I said, my eyes on Lover's Rock. When he has those snipers in hands, when he was coming up against a couple of opponents, he was missing shots again and again. And we can't see that same face to him. But by the time it came to map 2, completely different showing. Just seemed to be something with Lotus was his kryptonite.
Yeah, also from speaking to Rose, it seems like in terms of a vibes merchant, he's someone who's always picking up the team, whether he's performing well, performing badly, but throughout this tournament, he's been one of the highest rated players. So whether you're a comeback fan or not, this guy has definitely been putting on a display. The problem is that the main competition he has actually comes from members of his team. Loiter finds himself as the #1 rated so far this tournament, but the final is where it all matters. And wow, this round, Mitch,
Toxin screen down.
It's all about damage. Can they remove any of those weapons? More importantly, can they remove any of the rifles?
There's always a chance. For a little bit of damage in a round like this, Lover's Rock not giving them any opportunities. He's obviously been tagged down to 20, but is playing deep in the spawn. Coming back in for a quick shot or two. LaRock tagged as well. I mean, so much potential for damage, yet none will be found. A clean round coming in from BBL Pacific, and a good moneymaker as they come into the next with credits stacked high. Look over at Dynasty. You know, one of the guys that's worth mentioning, obviously he's coming in here playing the Viper, but in general, I think Creamy Dreamy, possibly one of the strongest support players we've got in Ascension. And certainly when it comes to stats, he's leading by quite a bit in terms of assists per round. He's been putting up those numbers, and I think has some of the most rounds played. So that consistency over a big data size is it's impressive to see. But this is going to be a different challenge, because just like we saw when teams play against someone like Ulf, BBL Pacific are playing that aggressive early style. It's very difficult to find your footing there.
Yeah, they're coming in with a hefty amount of rifles at that. A purchase up for Lover's Rock to make this a fourth in the mix. And Rose being the sacrificial lamb, which you can kind of understand why. You mentioned it though. I think you can say that for both the supported players. I look at Waddle, again, one of the top rated, but I want to put a focal point on Famzy. Been a little bit hit and miss throughout the tournament so far. He needs to be a hit today, and with the start already of Tag going down, it's not exactly what they were looking for.
It's a bit of control lost, and they have sent Ticey out to try to recover that space. The thing is, he's cleared up to the corner of C. He's seen no one peeking from main, but now there's a full push-up from Kreven. If he fell to that, this round was under a lot of pressure.
They're holding the cross.
The push-up on B, two players, high and low. The spike about to cross it. This could decide the round. Not on a sight, but in their spawn. But Waddle's the one to find two. He's given them a chance. The push to C continues.
But look at how far Tice is actually gone. It's a nasty surprise, though. Rose with the pistol has managed to leave him low. That kill could have been a difference maker. The spam definitely risky as the swing should clear him. And that leaves it all onto one, but Waddle's there waiting. An important start to the map as they get their first round onto the board. But this is where BBL Pacific will be buying back up in response.
Okay, right place, right time, but wrong result for those players pushing up on mid.
It's just paying the wall.
It was, yeah, LaRock and Lover's Rock standing together looking for that fight, and Waddle just about managing to find that double, bringing the spike over. Ticey looking back just in time to catch Rose. There were certainly some dangers in this round. Dynasty have done well to get that first on the board. Building from here, though, won't be easy, as BBL Pacific still come in with a full buy. And as we've been talking about, that operator for Lover's Rock, it was hit and miss, more miss than hit. Last time they played Lotus, as we said, you know, it sort of feels like that's a rarity of a map. You won't get too many of those opportunities.
Something they're going to have to deal with, because even though it was a defeat versus Twisted Minds, bear in mind, I think it was Exit got 31 kills in that map.
Exit was dry swinging.
The constant control. Like, you have this aggression coming out of Loiter. He's going to be doing this in the majority of rounds, keeping that control, and then you have somewhere else on the map the operator. And they are going to be pushing and pulling whatever map we see today. The B site already doubled up because of that. They've been able to hold on to two portions of the map, but this little split position, and well, an early attempt at a showstopper, but Lover's Rock a little quicker. Another opener again.
And that's what we're looking for. The operator online early. Spike dropped just outside that door, or inside it, I suppose. Just creep up towards B. I'll swing the door open and hopefully recover it. Oh no, okay, they can find it from there.
30 seconds left.
They still need to bait the wall.
No need for the door. Into the B site we go, 25 seconds. It looks like we're going all the way around to A, and so the pressure going to be on Loiter to hold the line.
Yeah, he's been waiting here the entire time. With the amount of time left, 15 seconds, he knows that surviving is far more important than taking a one-and-done fight, but they really are running low on the clock. They're going to try and double back in towards Rose. He's tagged low, but this needs to be an insta-kill. Eventually they get him, but Lover's Rock is still here. The spike down on the deck, and just a little bit too slow from Dynasty. I don't mind the idea, but they needed an extra few seconds for that to work.
Yeah, I mean, just the disruption of that first op shot really threw this round into disarray. It falling like that. The wall still being up on B. They try to go to the A site, wrap it all the way around, looking for options and finding no real good ones. Lover's Rock also getting off to a solid start. it's scary times because we know players like LaRock are always going to be there fighting for that top spot on the scoreboard. And look what this has done to Dynasty. They've gone in for 4 stingers alongside a rifle. That buy confirmed as the barriers go up, and Lover's Rock again in this aggressive position. He's got backup. In fact, he's got a bait with Kraven tanking the first shots of the util, and then he swings out wide. They thought they'd scared the player in main off. Little did they know that the real terror was just around the corner. A missed shot, but still the advantage for BBL Pacific.
Yeah, the interplay from them so far has been wonderful, and although this is only a half buy, you kind of wanted to make it costly. Wall there once again, and Tag has pretty much had a nightmare every time he stepped near that vice wall. He's had some problems. Again, though, trying to bait the rotations. They've thrown out a Prowler in towards A, but this close corner, not easy to clear. Although Creamy will be able to get one. I think that's all she wrote. Waddle at least has a rifle to play with, but 4 people to find.
Certainly a lot of work to be done. Got credits for the next round, and they'll need them. Kraven quickly putting Waddle in the dirt. BBL Pacific continue to climb up in terms of rounds. Now, coming into this, Tom, it felt to me like, you know, in terms of the veto, if Dynasty don't come in and ban a Haven, you've got a free map for BBL Pacific with really good results from them, and Dynasty looking a bit shaky there recently. So it's sort of forcing the hand of your opposition to take that strength versus weakness out of the pool. But when it came to Lotus, this is where I'm thinking, okay, Dynasty have the best shot in my mind of taking this map. It's a good pick. It's somewhere we've seen BBL Pacific struggle and have a slow start up against Twisted Minds. But again, that was the guy getting 31 kills.
So aggressive again, just trying to bait things out, and he's successful, but that showstopper's gonna go. Oh, what? Okay, he survived. Only for a moment though. Quick trade back from Dicey, but LaRock's there once again. They've been having trouble with players around the door, and well, LaRock has already turned this back. An aggressive what? How has he got away with that? Just manages to dance his way and survives far longer than he ever should have done. A 4K for LaRock, and well, once more, Wado is left to face against the world. I don't know how he survived even a second longer than he did, but Wado now needs to match him. A 1 versus 3, maybe the chance for a couple of, well, I was going to say isolated duels, but that was never going to happen. And yeah, please do slow that one down, Andy.
I don't know if I'm allowed to call it, but can we get a pause for Dynasty? I think this might be around the time you use it. They had such good control over that round. Everything going their way, and they lose it to 1 player. Opening pick, plant should be found, and the spike never even gets planted. A freebie turns into a 4K. And BBL Pacific, they feel like they can't put a foot wrong. Even the showstopper didn't land. I mean, this felt like a round of bad omens. And for Dynasty, the timeout is, I would be perplexed if they didn't call one, regardless of what comms are being called there on the server. This is a round that you need to pull out the tourniquet for.
Yeah, and I think I want to just touch on what you were talking about with the veto. I think in terms of going into the day and predictions, this is probably the best veto that we could have seen for Dynasty.
Yes,
they managed to get rid of the best map of an opponent. They don't like playing bind, and that was also banned, so that's helped them massively. And then you've got Lotus, which I think over the last few months, they had a pretty ridiculous record on, in fact. I think, yeah, they're 9-2 and their opponent's 4-3 with 2 losses in a row. So it's like, it's set up nicely. Then you talk about Abyss as an additional map, not played since February, and if you don't know, that was before Lover's Rock was even on the team for the BBL Pacific, but they've then chosen it. So you do kind of go like, okay, I imagine there's something there. You lose Lotus, and it feels like a slippery slope.
Oh, without a doubt. And it also depends on the fashion in which you lose it. 5-1 start already. We've seen many teams be stopped in the tracks after a lead like this. We've seen halves flip into the hands of teams in Dynasty's position, but they need to stop the bleeding here and now. Will be towards the C site they go.
This is one where the ultimates could pad the gap. Like, you have that Nightfall available to potentially get you into the site, and then you have the Viper's Pit to hold it. That's where those Stingers actually become quite valuable. The problem is there's also a Showstopper on the other side, and the Steel Garden to take your guns away, and 2 ults very close. So there's definitely, it's not going to be easy, but I can understand why they've put some investment into this round, because it feels like it could be possible if they can get close to a site. Again, though, look how far up their opponents are.
Yeah, expecting those ults to be, ult orbs to be sought after.
Ow.
How does Loida get away with another? Surely not a third. Finally, he's put to bed, but that rifle won't be retrieved, at least it won't be held onto. Lover's Rock not missing a shot here with the snipers. And even the disrespectful shorty on range into their corpse. It's only Tag 1v4. It seems like everybody's having their turn of being put into these 1vx's. As BBL Pacific put up 6-1, at least coming out of here with the orb farm. There's a lockdown online as well. Like, Dynasty have everything they need to take this next round, but they can't afford to keep losing.
It's funny. It's like Sue in the interview when talking to their coach, Key. So she was like, do you ever worry that they get too confident? These guys are basically emoting mid-round. Like, it's like, I'm going to just, there's a guy over there roughly, I'm just going to shoot the shorty at his corpse while in the open and then just go back to my gun, which doesn't have any bullets in it. Like, that's where we currently are at, of how confident this team is playing in a match that will take them into the BCT. Some of these players, well, just turning 18, one of them just about to. But you wouldn't be able to tell. They are feeling it right now. Showstopper already invested, and I think they've used the Nightfall as well.
And the nade, they haven't even heard it. It was going to take a kill, but Rose and LaRock are too quick. Oh, of all the rounds here to have such a dominant early fight, yet to lose a player. Tag, oh, there's no wall here. Let's walk through and see. There's going to be a wall of players waiting.
Okay.
Luckily, they've dealt with them. Both kills going the way of Dynasty. A lockdown still online, and it could be good in the post plant, but they might not get there. Tag, 1v3 this time. It's a bit more doable, although the fourth man of the decoy almost gives him away. And in the end, a spam from Rose will do just that. A 7-1 start. Smiles on the stage for BBL Pacific, but a different vibe on the other side.
Oh yeah, no, the way that they are currently playing, the contact immediately, using the Nightfall and the Showstopper in tandem. The players deafened, blinded, left vulnerable on the other side, and the only semblance of hope was maybe a little bit over-aggression in that 5 versus 2, just wanting to try and take the fights, but even still, it very quickly dissipated into nothingness. A 7-1 defensive side half for BBL Pacific. At least, as we currently see it, there is a gulf in class.
Decoy. That's what we've seen so far, but there's still plenty of rounds left to play for, plenty of chances for Dynasty. They could still put a 7-5 on the board. It wouldn't be the end of the world. They've dodged those early op shots, taken the space towards C, still have that lockdown to work with. The good thing of the round that they lost is their opponents used ults. They didn't. So a lot to work with, and with an opening pick under their belt, with the op removed, it looks like one of the best starts for Dynasty to a round we've seen so far.
Rose is taking one hell of a gamble. I was about to say, you might leave a gap, but that is the most common gap to try and spam with utility. Viper's Pit being used, they know how important this is, and Tyson already managing to find one, but walking into the pit versus the pistols will likely still be dealt the same blow. In fact, it's the utility on the other side that kicks it off. A second round, all but guaranteed. I was going to say LaRock could save, but you look at the amount of credits they have, I think he wants to wipe some weapons.
Yeah, catch him on the exits if they do go towards spawn. Big round for Dynasty, but a big investment as well. They found the opening pick without too much of a safety net being fallen onto, but a lockdown, a Nightfall, a Viper's Pit, these are big ultimates, space-taking ultis, and then locking them down with the pit as well. It gets you around on the board, but we need to see the consistency, because they're not going to have those same things to lean on. In fact, you know, still 2 away from the Showstopper. It might not even be online for the next. And when we go back to just regulation play, with the exception of a missed shot from Lover's Rock, it does very much feel like it's BBL Pacific with the upper hand.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like there are moments in a game where you need to do that just to be like, okay, we can win rounds. Get the confidence back, like feel like you can, okay, get the economy on your side a little bit as well. They have some backup cash if they need to actually invest into the next. But as you said, there now needs to be sort of a change in the winds of fate. And it needs to be now. The 10-2 half. Going into a map you literally have no data on, unless you're trying to base it off the last version of this BBL Pacific team. Tag, though, waiting patiently. Sometimes that can be enough with how aggressive this Pacific squad likes to be. And something they were suffering with in the early rounds, Mitch, was they were getting 0 of those opening picks. This is now different.
And even the Prowler put through.
It hit the decoy, though.
The decoy, yeah, they saw the player going back, but they know. Yeah. They know what they're up against. Lovers Rock giving up that position now, giving up that information. When push comes to shove, it will be the A site that's more heavily defended for BBL Pacific, and it looks like that's exactly where Dynasty are going. Into the numbers, into the op yet again. And a nice flash, but Creamy Dreamy, good for the shot. Lovers Rock under pressure. He needs to get out of there without his gate crash, and without his IGL helping him on the sideline. This is looking like a really tough round for BBL Pacific.
Yeah. They've managed to deal with the players within the site. And the question then starts to be asked, do they go for it? Again, still some spare credits for the defenders to play with, so looks like they're going to challenge, but Tag connecting the shot and leaving Lovers Rock as a lot still to do. Not going to happen. Creamy quick on the trade, and what was a really rough start for the side of Dynasty, starting to climb back into the map.
I'd like to hear that as well. As soon as they take the round, they're getting loud down there. You know, it wasn't so much when they put that second on the board, but this one feels much more repeatable for them. Good success, pushing and pulling the map, waiting for that aggression up through C long. You know, they've sort of made that read. If we don't make any noise, if we don't give them those opening picks, they come looking for it. And that's where Tag, just sitting on a nasty little angle inside their spawn, catches one for free. A timeout as a response, and I like this. 2 rounds left to play for. This could be a 7-5, which for Dynasty is going to be a godsend. That's them right back into the game. Or it could be a much more one-sided affair if BBL Pacific can course correct before this is over.
Well, yeah, and obviously the talking point is when you talk about these teams and these players looking to make it into the VCT, I think you're very much in the conversation of, okay, the BBL Pacific players are probably making it there no matter what. Like, whether they take their org with them. But that is the thing. The pride of Turkey taking Pacific with them into the league. But more importantly, on the other side, if you're Tag, you have the chance to do it with an Italian organization. And I'll be honest with you, unless he sticks with them into the future, the chances of that happening again are incredibly slim. Like, it is difficult to make that run all the way here. We've seen him attempt it a couple of other times, and I think both times not made it out of the groups. I'm sure for him, and more importantly, for Dynasty, that would be a moment to remember. Still, 7-3 up for BBL Pacific, and they are buying once again without any troubles at all.
Their record starting out here on the attack was a little tarnished in the first 8 rounds, but they are rising back up to take the fight. Dynasty, one step at a time. Pushing the credits ever lower on BBL Pacific, but that op is still in play for Lovers Rock, and there have been rounds won and lost on the back of it. Now, though, he's caught behind those smokes, not able to capitalize on the door being swung open and closed. And pressure, Dynasty should know, is keeping players on this side of the map. Don't expect any decision to be made too hastily, and it looks like they'll even go back to re-clear A. They want to push Loida back.
I think now, especially having Tag with the operator, last couple of rounds he's done well to sort of hold the push on C, and again, you saw it in the post plant. It gives them a little bit more confidence, especially with this turret still online, that they're not being pushed on. So they can try and challenge this side of the map, but also play with those rotations a bit more. Tag though needs to win this fight, but neither player landing the shot. A rotation pulled, especially with the Prowler finding nothing. They're now going to stack up this C site.
And Tag, let's see if he can get one quick scoping like it's caught. In goes the rocket, and it's landed on Lover's Rock. Kraven holding strong in the sideline. The Rock and Rose are here! And they have held strong indeed. The C site. It will not crumble, it will not fall, and BBL Pacific lock in 8 for the halftime, but one more to play for. 9-3 would be a hell of a comeback needed for Dynasty, and when BBL Pacific go to that attack side, I don't think things are going to get very easy, especially looking at how well LaRock is performing right now.
I think a lot of this round, though, was the call. Like, having that aggressive positioning, spotting out Tag, and then the second that contact is made, they put a Prowler straight through B and immediately put all 4 players onto the C side. When you have that many players there with 15 seconds left, odds of winning are slim. And I wouldn't be surprised that we might see a pickup in pace. Immediately trying to make a move in towards the B site. Utility being utilized, but Famzy's done well. He's taken a fight aggressively towards the broken door, and now they have control.
A foothold to play with.
Spike planted.
Now 4th round calling them. Viper even blocking any sort of impact from this door being swung open. The op really being declined a lot of fights. The shorty up close. LaRock is in so much danger. The jump peak sort of gives the game away. He knows what he's up against, but what do you do here? Walks in and finds Famzy backing up his buddy. One by one, they're starting to fall, leaving only these players in main, but Kraven comes in from the top rope. He's found 2, giving them a chance, but Famzy rips it out of their hands. A 4th on the board at halftime. Dynasty, they've done enough to keep their heads over water.
Yeah, it was an incredibly close one in the end for those last couple of rounds, but a couple of rounds that will desperately be needed for Dynasty. But realistically, they have still got one hell of a mountain to climb going into the next.
Indeed. A strong performance from Dynasty. They found their footing in the end. They heated up just as we needed to see them do. And no doubt, we've got someone in the building who's very happy to see that. Let's send it over to Yinsu, who's standing by with Dynasty's co-streamer, Billy Bella.
It is a very big deal that we have Dynasty here in the building in the finals. It also means I get to meet you.
Hello.
Billy Bella, welcome to Berlin. I know this is your first time, so
yes.
How exciting is it to see a team that you've been watching for so long make it to a grand final?
It's really a big deal. Like I love this kind of environment, but it's too cold, guys. How can you survive in Berlin with this cold weather?
I am so glad you mentioned that. But it is quite hot on stage. I think that the action is definitely hot on stage. And I've heard that Waddle's actually coached you before. Yeah. Is he a good coach?
No, because I'm still Diamond. How can he be a good coach if I'm still Diamond?
But he's a good player, though. Yeah? You like him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
What do you think what do you wish people knew more about Waddle?
He likes to waddle. Like, I don't know if you see him walking, he does too.
Oh, he physically waddles. Okay, okay. I like the way that he waddles onto site as well. You know, he gets a lot of kills. And also, Tag, of course, if he were to ascend today, that is a huge, huge deal for the Italian community. So talk me through that as well.
Tag is like my little son, but he doesn't like that. But I'm still his mother, so he have to deal with that.
Anything you want to say to your son right now, if you could tell him something?
I don't know. I'm kind of mad because before that he was watching anime, and I was saying, "Why are you watching that before a match?" But it's okay. It's gonna be good.
It's a buff. It's a buff. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, Mitch, why would you ever watch anime before a match?
Yeah, why?
All right, Sue, I'll make sure to delete all the downloaded episodes of Blue Lock just for you. Well, I think for Tag, maybe that was a little bit of a training arc for him, right? He's been warming up in that first half. Now, after the motivation there from Billy Bella, I'm expecting him to come out with a hell of a performance in the pistol. He's even got the Sheriff. He's feeling confident. You love to see that.
Yeah, and well, interestingly, they are one of the better teams in terms of the retaking. I will say it might be a bit of a gamble to give up the sites to BBL Pacific, but last time out versus Twisted, they did struggle a little bit more on this attack side, and if you're a Dynasty fan, that's almost what you have to hope for here. LaRock is about to come under some serious pressure, and a nice start with Creamy already finding the opener. They have lost some space on the other side. The Viper screen, though, should slow down their opponents.
The question is, where are they taking it? BBL Pacific, they've made it look pretty obvious that this is a play towards B or then a pivot to the C site. You've even got Lover's Rock trying to fully sell it with the crossover here. But the rest of the squad is making their way to the A site. They're putting the pressure on the solo holder of Waddle. Lover's Rock, if he can find some more, or if he finds something even for the squad, certainly lighten the load of this A push. But even if they just get Waddle and a plant, that's huge. Waddle needs to find himself some value, at least a pick, but they think the site's fully clear.
Yeah, that was all too easy. Even heard the player back towards tree. Well, now that's the last man standing. Creven to try and face the entirety of the Dynasty squad, and there is no way out of there. Creamy with his third of the round, and Dynasty have got a much-needed pistol under their belt.
7-1 down, you end up 8-4 at the half, you win the pistol as well. I mean, that is about as well paved as the road to recovery is ever going to be. A 3-round gap should be set to 2 as well, with their opponents taking an eco. A big confidence builder for a man like Creamy down there, top of the board for his squad now. This is a great resurgence from Dynasty, and exactly what you want to see early on, considering it's their pick as well in the BO5.
It's worth mentioning as well, last 3 times that we've seen them play this map, they were better on the defensive side. Not by a massive margin, but you add a pistol into the mix, and only now being 3, potentially 2 rounds behind, and that could be a defining factor of their comeback, and a needed one of that. As said, if you're looking at this is the map they almost need to win in the series. For Tag, a little bit of a confidence booster. Maybe seeing, well, he can't see his mum up there on the screen. He's also not his actual mum, but we'll ignore that factor, as they will win a flawless round, and definitely seeing like they are back into the server. Can they now continue this though, Mitch? As an immediate, I don't know if this is going to stick, an immediate purchase of an Odin into the bonus round.
Yeah, I would be surprised if that's going to be kept through.
He's got the credits.
Yeah, it's not like it's putting them onto a pistol if they lose this one.
Unless he wants another Odin for the next round.
Well, he's got teammates who have enough credits to drop it top,
okay.
So that's how I always think about it. Doesn't matter what credits I have, once my buddy's loaded. But 8-6, 2-round gap for Dynasty, path to recovery. Very much being taken. You know, with Tycee bringing in that Odin, they're not going to be pulling any punches in this round. In fact, Lloyd has already taken a couple of hits and almost goes down on the cross back to spawn. A great early fight for Dynasty, and look what they're going to do with this information. Already having Famzy sat outside A main, they've double rotated to the B site, then they've sent one in the form of Creamy to C. You've now got Viper and Killjoy to contest with. For BBL Pacific, they have to start competing for some map control before they even think about pushing a site.
Yeah, they've already used Boombot, so it will just be the singular Prowler remaining, or they're just going to try and dry peek it, and because of that, weren't expecting anybody in the corner. Fact is, though, not the worst of trades. That's one of the rifles gone, and they've taken this space back with a decent amount of time left on the clock. 40 seconds to try and make a move, and that move doesn't look like it's stopping. Waddle, though, caused them issues in the pistol round as well, just by his patience. And now with the cross held by the Odin, this could be tough.
They're challenging it, but the paranoia doesn't land quite in time. Eventually, the spray is lost, and so too is Tycee. With that space taken on the B site, the plant can at least be found. Still, the advantage sits. The lighter armed defensive side. Waddle has a challenge on his hands. It's Creven on the other side, full health and a rifle, but he falls after one. And it's all on Loida. He's 51 HP, jumping across. He will survive, but he's gambling on that not being stuck. At least at this point, it's too late. He now knows that was maybe stuck to half. There's the tap to pull him into the open, but he uses the TP, baiting Waddle out and swinging in, but the classic finds him in the end. Dynasty continue to climb back. This team was 7-1 down, and they are now just 1 round behind.
Waddle comes in with one of the highest KDs in the entirety of the tournament. And there's a reason for that. He's getting a lot of kills and normally doesn't die. 5 HP was the difference in this round. And I will say, it's another thing that Loiter, I feel, does better than anyone else, is those jump peaks with the TP to get him back into the corner. It was so close to working out with the HP difference, but that round is so integral. puts them one behind after what was an incredibly slow start, a 7-1 lead on their opponent's first choice. And although the numbers might still be in BBL Pacific's favor, I feel like the game is well and truly flipped.
The momentum most certainly has. See the defensive prowess, and if we're to believe the numbers, as you said, the Dynasty looking a little bit more comfortable on that defense. Yeah, it looks like it's very much BBL Pacific who now have their work cut out for them. Investment from that attacking side, a couple of pistols. Of course, LaRock still coming in with the Guardian. Contending with this A main control is big enough task of its own. LaRock already down. The spams have done quite a bit of damage, and it looks like eventually BBL Pacific decide they don't want that fight.
It also hasn't baited much in terms of rotations. We're now seeing Tag bolstering up a little bit, and that shot's actually really important.
Not ready yet.
Bamsey going down does leave the site open. Allows for an afterplant.
30 seconds left.
Allows for a gun to be picked up. And it's just got a little bit more dangerous. Can they deny the plant with any form of spams? No.
The gun picked up is an outlaw, so it's only Ticey who's vulnerable to that one hit with full shield still on 3 players. The damage being done in return. Now Nightfall completely robbing them of info. Snakebite forcing them into the open. Big fight. The Dynasty have managed to, oh no, get out of the Snakebite. It's faded just in time, but Ticey's there now. Benefit of the TP off the Nightfall. They never see it coming, and the defuse underway will not be denied. It may have been close in terms of numbers, but Dynasty, they find it again. Now neck and neck, 8-8 with BBL Pacific, which is a damn sight better than it looked like we would get to.
Yeah, a weird thing I'm about to say, but that was a very sneaky Odin play that just came out from Dicey. He just ran through the smoke. Obviously, they were deafened by that Nightfall being used. Couldn't hear the amount of steps he will have made to get him behind them. Even the TP, oh, there you go. I don't think you're ever going to see anything like this if they aren't deafened by that ultimate. And a huge round for them to take away. Scoreline equalized, and well, maybe that early confidence has started to fade for BBL Pacific. A pause to be called, but when you've lost 4 rounds in a row and the scoreline is still level, there's still plenty of time to fix things.
This is the last time out for BBL Pacific. Dynasty still having won after that massive upset in the early stages of this map. Now very much flipping the script, finding neck and neck, having a little bit of a economy to fall back on. While BBL Pacific are putting it all on the line here. Had to take an eco in the previous, made it look damn close. This is where the lead could be taken by Dynasty after looking like they maybe had to start thinking about map 2 20 minutes ago.
Oh, for sure. Like, in the first 8 rounds, they're being absolutely bodied. Like, struggling to get any form of map control. Struggling to make it to a site. But they gave themselves just about enough room, it seems. And now moving on to the defense. It's been a different ballgame. I like this, though, from BBL Pacific. Immediate A control. It's something they've not had much of throughout the entirety of this second half. They've been struggling in the early stages of the round, but this time it feels like it's been given up to them. And even gambling to try and challenge the Odin. It's not going to be easy.
Oh, Kraven's gotten him. The walk through the doors worked out. Lover's Rocks landed a shot. Now your Viper Wall down and out of the round. And well, with this full buyback, it looks like BBL Pacific have found their return to winning ways. Yeah. Rose will give his life for the plant, but he wants that clock to be ticking in their favor. As a 3v2 comes into play, Famsy already down to 26 HP. He will at least be able to keep his up, finding a little gap and then using it. Kraven, I'm not sure where he was going, and I'm not sure why, but this is a problem now. They've got a showstopper to work with. They've got time on their side. The nades found a kill. It has to be Lover's Rock. He's got to find something, and Famsy with his 4th secures the round for Dynasty. That's a round that never should have been. 26 HP, and they offered it up to him on a plate.
I don't think he took a point of damage either throughout the whole retake. That was just seemingly... Okay, the first nade, forgivable. This was just Kreven misreading his own ultimate. Like, he believed he covered every corner, and because of that was like, oh, I'm up against the pistol, I'll just take the fight. A gamble that was completely unnecessary. Then a second player going down to the second nade of Famzy. It might be the most impact you're going to see from Paint Shells maybe throughout the tournament, like, especially in isolated circumstances.
Of all the rounds, this is the one where you smash the pause button, but unfortunately for BBL Pacific, it's been disconnected. They've already used their 2. And in fact, they used it just before that round, so that's a heartbreaker of a way to bounce back. Dynasty now in the lead. Look at this corner, not cleared. Waddle's finding 2. So much damage done, but somehow BBL Pacific managed to put this back to a level playing field, even picking up some weapons. They now look for a fight deep in the spawn.
There's been a lot of close rounds, but in each of them, Dynasty has been able to come out on top. The early start from Waddle looked like it sealed the deal already, but Kreven looking to make up for the last, it seems, leaving Creamy alone. The swing is risky, and an instant shot from Creamy now makes this one possible. Viper's Pit utilized just to try and clear some space, but Lotus trying to find his way around the edge. He's been spotted, and Creamy will take it all. It is a round of dreams for him, and a 10th for Dynasty. BBL Pacific have got to be kicking themselves at this point.
That 7-1 seems a long, long way away. Dynasty playing an unbelievable game when it comes to clutches. I mean, we come into today, we're looking at someone like LaRock, thinking, oh, he's got to be the biggest clutcher in the league, or, well, second attack us, I suppose, but everyone on Dynasty's doing it here. Famzy in the last round, Creamy in this, and BBL Pacific 2 rounds in a row that they'll be looking to break the button that calls the pause.
It's got to be smashed at this point. Like, these are moments where it's a 1v3, spike planted. There's no reason to be taking any of these fights. And those gambles have, bit them in the bum again. Another opportunity to get themselves onto the site. LaRock even going to use the showstopper to guarantee that space, but... Oh, that was almost the kill. 5 HP. Lockdown also available. So they don't really need to overcommit this, whereas the attack are feeling the need to take some space.
Probably the best fight for a judge. 5 health, medium range, easy kill. And he's sticking up close. He's got support further back there to dive around alongside the Paranoia. Huge damage done. Tags down to 41. Famzy's had his shield stripped off him. But this round is far from done. Certainly based on what we saw in the last 2. The run for the smoke lands Famzy an opening. But now they buy time. Those Thorns delaying so long. In goes the C's a little early, considering the work the Thorns are putting up. But the timer, it's already ticked too far. It's time to run, turn tail, and save these weapons. Dynasty finally forced to give up on an unwinnable round. The BBL Pacific, with that round win, trailing by 1. I didn't think I'd be saying that in this map.
Well, they could have won any of the last 3 rounds, let's be real. Like, if they weren't making mistakes of their own, this could be a very different scoreline, but it's good to see that they've still got fuel left in the tank. I think the good thing from their perspective was that was a really well-played round. They knew that the opponents wanted to use the lockdown. They knew what was one of the most threatening positions, which was from that defender spawn. So they just don't allow them the space. They put a judge in an aggressive position. Great call from them in this round. And the lack of mistakes. Otherwise, Lovers Rock, he wanted to take that peek, but... Oh no, he's actually got back for it. Never mind. Famzy has been caught.
Early off pick. Opening duel for BBL Pacific, and they've lost Rose to the spam! They've almost lost Lover's Rock as well. Look, sometimes we look at teams giving away advantages, but that one has been stolen by Dynasty. But the upside for BBL Pacific is they've made the right call. The C-site push sees one player passive due to this lockdown, and he will be forced to play the retake. Do they go for the plants here?
Are they going to push it? Destroyed by the nade. Good utility usage. I think they knew they had to move quick after losing Rose. But the reaction has got them into a post plant. Lovers Rock also taking down Tag, gives them that advantage once again, and the hold this time looking a lot more patient in their crossfires, leaving just one standing, and it's not going to work out. Solid from Loiter, great hold on the back of that site. And after plenty of blips, it doesn't seem to have affected the mental of the other side. They will level things up once again, and more importantly, look at the economy.
That's it, right? Last time that we came into this neck-and-neck scenario, it was somewhere that both teams had the money. Both teams are investing. But this time around, Dynasty almost have to concede that lead. Their credits sitting low. BBL Pacific starting to tighten up a little bit in those later situations, those post plans where they have advantages. They've learned a lesson, it seems, and now it's on Dynasty to keep on teaching. Ticey down to 45. He's forced off that angle. The fallback, the rotate is coming in just in time. It looks like they've got the read on this defensive side. A potential 4-man stack on A when the push comes in.
Yeah, they went for an early reveal set play with the one rifle in hand. Creamy now is the other side of the coin. It's not connected. He has a chance to take everybody down. 2 with the Bucky.
Cover going out.
And now a little bit of hesitation. Loiter just looking for info with the TP, but hasn't really found much at all. With Ticey locking them in, they can keep this stack at least for now.
You've lost Kravitz, you've lost flank control. They go back to clear, and Ticey's walking up. He needs to survive. They will hunt him down quickly, take that site if they can. But instead it will be towards the B site. Now a player on the door. Paranoia sent through. This is going to be tagged, holding on for dear life, but in comes Ticey to land one. Larocque desperately low, is spammed out. The wall bang from Waddle might just have locked in this round. 20 seconds. Lovers Rock needs to be quick, find the spike, find a plant, and with 3 players there as well, and rifles being picked up.
I'm watching it.
I think this one's done, surely.
I got the spike.
Get the spike.
10 seconds left.
Sprint his way around to the site. Should have just about enough time. It will get him his ult, but utilizing it here is not going to be easy, and they are hot on his tail. Knew it as well. Didn't have time to pull out the sniper. What a round to come out of Dynasty. A low buy where they gamble, but I really like the set play. Like having that early use of, okay, we're going to get aggressive with our one rifle. We're going to have the immediate setup to try and put utility into play. That didn't work. We got a Bucky behind a wall. That's the other side of it. But we're forcing them into that place. And then the constant rotations, the constant gambles, knowing that they had weaker weaponry. Maybe even a little bit of luck.
Yeah, maybe a little, and just in time. 11-10, the lead stays in their favor. And one thing I'll say is, as I said, when the 3rd round went up for Dynasty, you could hear it on the stage. They were getting loud. They never gave up on this, a game that, well, I'm sure plenty of people out there have had their ranked games stop in their tracks once it hit 7-1, maybe even earlier. And up against BBL Pacific, where Larocque was firing on all cylinders. Seemed like there was no way back yet. Here they are. In the lead, the economy pushed to its brink on BBL Pacific, and victory here, they could just need to tap it in to close out map number 1.
Waddle up close. I kind of expected him to be the one in a retake scenario just because of his ultimate being online. He's going to get forced back, but that's a lot of utility ultimately for nothing other than space. Is Ticey really going to TP across? He is. Wanting to make sure they at least have some control of this A site, but with the dimensional drift being utilized, a lot of space is going to get cleared.
Here.
There it is, the 2 players close by have already been spotted. Guns up and ready to fight for BBL Pacific. Famzy getting that regen shield up, and he finds one still. He was so low, to get any value is huge as they quickly follow up on the back of it, leaving 2 standing for BBL Pacific. One that can retrieve the spike though. The door even open to make them think this could be a play to the C site, but the plant on A is now being heard. Flank up from Krevin needs to be quick. If Loiter goes down, this round is already lost, but he's made it into the tree. Krevin's got the backstab of dreams. It's a little shaky, but he gets there in the end.
He's not the best of positions, but he just wants to buy as much time as he
Didn't take
can.
the guns.
The clock ticking away. Waddle ready for the fight with the reveal, and he knows now there's a player in tree. The door opens, now both are here, but Tag isolates the first and the second. Dynasty continuing step by step. One round away from closing this out with 2 chances. This is sensational from the defensive side.
Yeah, showing real resilience after the start, but also showing the stones, like the amount of risks that we're seeing. The swing through from Vaxi, then the spam that helped out Creamy to take some space as well. The ultimate from Kreven was just hopeful to try and take the guns away to slow them down, but it didn't work. Neither of them were caught. And now with 2 chances on what has been a stellar defensive side, that retake stat is only going to increase. 6 so far. And then the other 2 with a pistol. And already early spam, early reveal. Not quite as much damage as maybe Taisu would hope.
Here we go. What could be the last push for BBL Pacific. This is their opponent's map pick, but with the lead they had, the Dynasty looking dead and buried in those first 8 rounds. Well, they have very much come back.
Bring them down.
Even the dying flame can burn the hand that seeks to snuff it out, and for BBL Pacific, they stand here attempting one last time to snuff out Dynasty before this becomes a raging inferno. Recovering a map like this from that kind of deficit, I mean, we talk about momentum, we talk about confidence. It does everything and more that you need, especially as the underdog.
Yeah, timer ticking. BBL Pacific have just over 30 seconds to try and make their move. Tag is the only defender on this side of the map. They've also lost their lurk of Rose. And with how successful they've been in the retakes, it's no surprise that Dynasty are not getting ahead of themselves, not losing those protocols that have brought them back into this game. Tag just waiting patiently with support, the high-low, too much for LaRock to do anything. And now the showstopper, not quite for free. They survive, but they are surviving by nothing but a hair's breadth. 1 man left, and the comeback will be completed. Dynasty are going to take their map choice in pretty impressive fashion.
Flawless.
A map that started out with despair, but my goodness, they have come back into it 13-10. They even have a little bit of a margin to win by in the end for BBL Pacific. A devastating loss